All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Don't be surprised. Don't be thrown off. Don't be offended at the sight of Matt Walsh on your screen. I probably should have given you a warning first for those who know who he is. Be honest, I have only known of him for less than 6 months. It was a few months ago when I learned of him for the first time. And listen, I don't have to agree with him. I've learned that it's a waste of time dealing with the things that you disagree with someone on. It's a waste of time because you're going to disagree with things no matter who it comes from. Your parents, your children, your professor, your teacher, your preacher, minister, whatever. You're going to have disagreements with everybody. So you may as well focus on what you agree on. And that is my case. And if you speak my narrative, if you push my talking points, I'm going to appreciate it. Especially if you have a large platform. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I'm going to be happy that you said the exact same things that I say on your much larger platform. So, I'm willing to openly agree with anybody, no matter how extreme they may be. Because personally, I'm just not intimidated by Klan members, white supremacists, and I only mention them because they're probably the worst types of people who you will want to agree with, or at least for a person like me to agree with. I don't care who you are. You talking sense, talk that sense. Well, I want to deal with this sickness in this country. I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like I know, and it's a strong feeling, I can tell when the people are on the path to extinction. I feel like my group, Black Americans, are on the path towards extinction. And we have to do something to stop it if we want to remain on this earth. We got to think survival at this point. I've had my little riffs with certain segments of Black America, Black males and Black females. But really, now ain't the time to be arguing over petty things that can wait. I won't call them petty, things that can wait. We're at the point now where we need to focus on survival because that's being threatened. I feel like several groups are on the path to extinction. Not necessarily saying some outside force put them on that path, but I don't rule that out. They're on a path to extinction. And people of all groups have the natural right to want to keep their group on the earth. And I wish all of you the best. I personally believe that the music that we've created since we've been in this country is worth preserving. I personally believe that if for nothing else, the musical genius of, and I would hope that you would think that your musicians are geniuses as well. I view them as geniuses. and I think it's worth preserving. It's a powerful force that has visited this earth through Black Americans, and I appreciate that. Just like other people have had their own type of impact. So we should not entertain lifestyles that threaten our existence. Once you start to do that and turn it into a culture, you could exterminate yourself. Now, maybe that's what some people want. I would imagine, no. Our instinct is to survive. It's a natural instinct. So we need to act like it. Now, I want to comment on this video, if you don't mind. Big shout out to everybody able to join me for this live stream. This was uploaded on his channel a year ago.
Let's go to this from the Daily Mail. It says, a Hero, Wisconsin mother of 2 died 8 days after suffering severe injuries when she saved her 4-year-old son from being brutally attacked by the family's pit bull. Heather Pingle, 35, from Bowler, suffered kidney failure, lung damage, and both of her arms had to be amputated after the pit bull viciously attacked her and her son. She was rushed to the Aspiris Hospital, where she died of her injuries on December 16th. Damien received 70 stitches to his leg and is back home recovering. That's her son, Damien. So she had both her arms amputated, and then eventually she died. Yeah, I bring this case up because it's a horrible case, but also, yet again, I think it emphasizes that it's simply crazy to allow these animals to be owned, in our neighborhoods. This kind of thing, it happens every single year. It is not all that rare. Pit bulls are very dangerous animals. They're bred to be dangerous. They are uniquely dangerous. Not every dog breed is equal in that sense. Some dog breeds are more dangerous than others. Pit bulls are the most dangerous because they are bred to be aggressive. They're bred to be fighting dogs. They're built like machines. And you could say all you want, that I have a pit bull and he's so cute and I put funny hats on him and what kids, he would never hurt anybody. No, he's an animal. Okay? And if he has a bad day or something snaps or something triggers, someone does something innocent, but that triggers an instinctive reaction in the animal, he's going to become a death machine.
Now, as you can see, although he's correct in what he's saying, many of you I know notice that he's understating reality. He referred to pit bulls as animals. Okay, I'll give you the fact that it has an animal brain, right? Their brain is configured in a particular way. I'll agree with that part. But this is a pit bull where its self-restraint has been bred out of it, where it only takes minute things to trigger an attack. The most harmless things can trigger an attack. Okay, so their brain, their mind is very unlike natural animals. Like I said, you walk by other animals of the earth, they're not going to be aggressive with you and try to attack you the way dogs are. Especially when talking about bully breeds. These are highly, highly aggressive animals. If you were to tell someone that an animal was being aggressive towards you as you walked home, we all would say or guess that it was a dog. No other animal would come to mind. None. Dogs are uniquely aggressive. Uniquely aggressive. And we have to keep that close in mind. This is far beyond just an animal type of mind.
He's going to become a death machine. Mauling children, killing women. This happens every single year. In fact, the website banpitbulls.org, which I think they put their biases right there in the URL, but even so, the information is good. It says pit bull attacks in the U.S.
Now, I rock with ban all dogs. Excuse me, ban all dogs. Hey, I rock with ban all dogs and banpitbulls.org. I've shared information from that website several times on this channel. It's all verifiable. You can do your own research and to try to sort of validate the information you see here. But like I've said, and I say many times, they produce incredible statistics, irrefutable statistics. It's crazy. They killed 95% of the 15,000 dogs killed in the U.S. between 2013 and 14. And it's the same with all animals. They killed 93% of all livestock killed in the United States between 2013 and 14. These are killing machines. The statistics that they produce bear witness to the fact that they were bred. It bears witness to what they were bred for. Right? Now let's continue.
Rose 700, and so this information is a little bit old, but since 2014, it says pit bull attacks in the U.S. rose 773% between 2007 and 2014. In the 10-year period from 2005 to 2014.
Yeah. That Michael Vick thing really gave him a boost, a big boost from that, and Caesar coming onto the scene. There was an explosion of pit bull owners and attacks, mutilations, obviously.
Pit bulls killed 200 Americans and accounted for 62% of the 326 total recorded deaths by dog bites. And then it goes on with more statistics, but you can look up yourself. But vast majority of maulings happen by pit bulls. Now, if you want to look at dog bites in general, including
Now, he said maulings. Maulings. It's overwhelmingly bully breeds. Okay? That's how they attack. And I'm going to say this just to annoy pit bull lovers. They bite down and lock their jaws. Oh, yes, they do. They bite down, lock their jaws, and shake. That's what they do. Not only that, you're talking about a creature with a lot of excess muscle. Tightly packed, dense, powerful muscle. So as it shakes, it is causing tremendous damage. You don't take chances with things that not only will attack, but will attack like that. You know, it would be different if they just gave you a quick nip, you know, a real bite, where the most you would have is a couple small puncture wounds. That wouldn't seem like nothing. It's all about how they attack, the severity of the injuries. And those injuries are going to be there if it's a bully breed attacking you. If they, and they always do, clamp down, lock their jaws, and shake. They're going to rip and tear muscle off the bone. You don't take chances with stuff like that.
It's like a nip on the hand. pit bulls might not be at the top there. Probably like a poodle would be at the top, but poodles aren't killing anybody. So severe maulings, pit bulls by far and away responsible for most of them. They killed 200 people in the span of 7 years. Now, yeah, you could say, well, you know, many more people die of car accidents every year, so on and so forth. But we're talking hundreds of people mauled to death by animals that we allow into our communities. Why? So I know what the argument is for not allowing pit bulls. Say ban pit bulls. The argument is that these can be very, very dangerous animals, uniquely dangerous, and they kill hundreds of people, and they maul thousands of people, and young kids get their faces ripped off. And so that's why we should not allow pit bulls.
And just to clarify, he said young kids get their faces ripped off. In some years, the majority of children attacked were infants, were babies. Between 0 and 1. Okay? So these are not just small children being attacked. These are babies getting attacked. You got something willing and able to torture babies. Let's be specific. I'm not overstating it here. I'm not exaggerating at all. I'm still understating it. To be honest, I can't articulate the gruesomeness of these attacks. Right? I'm doing my best.
That's the argument for banning them. What exactly is the argument for allowing them? The argument is they're cute. I like them. That's really the whole argument. It's just that is not an argument. Pit bulls are not. This is not. We talk about the right to bear arms because I know that's another thing. Pit bull apologists will often make this comparison. So, well, what you're doing, this is just what the gun control crowd does with guns. Yeah, you have a constitutional right to bear arms. There's no constitutional right to bear pit bulls. Pit bull's an animal. And there are all kinds of animals that you're not allowed to bring into neighborhoods. And I would think that most of us would agree with most of those laws. You can't bring a lion in most communities will not allow you to just own a lion and have it hanging around in the backyard. Is that an infringement of your constitutional rights? No, and why don't we allow lions? Well, because, there are probably cases of people having domesticated lions and not getting mauled by them, but they are uniquely dangerous. These are wild animals. It presents a threat to the community, and there's just no good reason to do it. So your desire to have a lion does not outweigh the desire of your neighbor to not have his child's face bitten off. That to me is the argument.
Now, I believe that was a powerful message. That was a powerful message. You know, I want to commend him on a powerful message. You know, coming from someone with a large platform, I can tilt my hat to someone making that statement, pointing out these facts. However, I think it would have been a lot more powerful had he mentioned and put a lot of emphasis on the fact that they violate our laws. They violate our laws. They break the law. The presence of bully breeds, especially inside of homes where kids reside, it's a violation of our laws. How many times do I have to point this out? I mean, and it tells you how disconnected people are from laws in general. Many people who claim to be patriotic seem oblivious to laws. And if you're going to talk about the safety hazard, the risks of bully breeds, this is a source of power you need on your side. You must mention the laws because it's irrefutable. like I've said before several times, when you read these laws, it sounds like they were created for dogs. Like specifically, as an anti-dog person, I read this thinking to myself, did they know? Did they have dogs in mind when they wrote this? Okay, so it's not just an immoral thing. It's not just an immoral thing to own these and, make it more dangerous for your neighbors' children to play and whatnot. But you having that thing inside the home with your children violates the law. You're breaking the law. These are criminals. They're criminals. We don't get to pick and choose which crimes get a pass and which ones don't. If it's a crime, you're a criminal, engaged in criminal activity. That's an irrefutable fact. Now, look at this. Child endangerment laws, they apply to any number of acts, can lead to a conviction. Dangerous activities. Let's jump down here. They're designed to punish behavior that might lead to a child becoming harmed, but they do not require that children actually suffer an injury or physical harm. State laws often categorize child endangerment as placing a child in a situation that might endanger the child's life, health, welfare, morals, or emotional well-being. How can dogs not qualify? Okay, placing a child in a situation that might endanger the child's life, health, well-being. Let me ask you like this. Let me put it to you like this. I want you to give me from 0% to 100%. You tell me, what are the chances of your child being mauled by a dog if you don't own a dog? And what would you think that person's chances is compared to someone who does have a mutt inside the house? The chances of that child in the home with the dog, chances of that child being mauled is much higher than the person who does not have a dog in the home. In order for that child to be mauled, some dog would have to run from somebody else's house, inside of their house. I mean, it's possible, but how likely is that? Your chances are much greater if you have that thing inside the home. You cannot argue with this. This is an irrefutable violation of the law. You're placing a child in a situation that might endanger the child's life and well-being. There's no refuting that. And this is exactly why I've challenged so many people, even people in the law. I mean, if I'm wrong, correct me. It goes on. However, child endangerment may still be charged in cases where the actions of the caregiver did eventually result in the child being physically injured or harmed. And this is what happens in dog attacks all the time. And those parents get off scot-free. It was my failure to mention in that article I shared on the previous live stream. The prosecutors gave the mother of a child who was killed a slap on the wrist. And they said that the mother already suffers enough because she lost a child. And that's punishment enough. So we are not going to then punish her again by putting her in jail. And I say, no. She didn't show any behavior that would make you think that she wanted to protect her child. She did nothing to try to prevent that from happening. She's the one who went out and acquired it and brought it into the home. That's exactly what these laws punish. That's exactly the type of behavior and actions that these laws punish. And they apply to this situation. She went out and acquired this thing. What you telling me she didn't know it had teeth? That it could maul, attack? Of course she knew. It's exactly why she got it. And they get off scot-free. Oh, it's an accident. It's an accident. No, it ain't no accident. The caregiver did eventually result in the child being physically injured and harmed. In this same scenario of kids getting mauled, it happens over and over and over again. This is a proven hazard. There will never be a year where there are no attacks. Now, this gets worse. To obtain a conviction for child endangerment crime, the prosecutor does not have to show that a parent or caregiver intentionally meant to expose the child to a dangerous situation. The courts apply a reasonable person standard in child endangerment cases. This means that even if the accused didn't realize the situation was dangerous, reasonable people in that situation would have understood their actions endangered the child's well-being. Now, you can't even say that this applies to these dog owners. They all know full well that dog had teeth, and it could rip their kid's throat out at any moment. They know it. There's no way to argue that they were unaware of the danger. Like, this is a specific violation of the law. And like I said, it feels like, it sounds like they made it for dogs. It's like, man, are you talking about dogs right now? Or not? Okay, now look at this. The circumstances of each case will determine whether the accused either knew or should have known that the child was in danger. The circumstances of each case. You don't need to go through all that. What's the circumstance in each case? That the nutter parent went out and brought a predator into the house. That's the only circumstance I need to know about. There's no way you're going to argue that there was some reasonable or logical reason you bring a deadly predator into the home. There's no reason to do that. Okay, so let's not get into that. This applies to them. They violate this law. Generally, an adult caregiver must do more than simply make a mistake or act unwisely. A caregiver must place a child in a situation where it is more likely than not the child will become exposed to harm. Now that is these dogs, especially bully breeds, to a T. It is more likely than not that the child is exposed to getting mauled. Is it not? Isn't that what it says? It's more likely than not the child will become exposed to harm. Of course. So lock them up. Lock them up. Courts have ruled, for example, that parents who left their child in a locked car with the engine running while they went into a store for around 40 minutes did not endanger the child. Okay. People, this is serious, right? We are in a state of emergency right now. and we need to act like it. Now, I want y'all to listen closely to this. Yeah, this is a different video. See the shirts different? This is the one I just played. Now, listen to this.
I mean, this is not a what about thing.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wait a minute. Let's back this up a little bit.
And assess our priorities and figure out how we ended up in a culture where tortured puppies attract more outrage than tortured babies. I mean, this is not a what about thing. It's not a what about.
Now, if a group of people, and this is irrefutable, if a group of people are more emotionally connected with dogs than they are to children, they're on a path to extinction. I think that's irrefutable. If dogs trigger your maternal, your parenting, your pedagogical emotions, if dogs trigger that, but children don't, you're on a path to extinction. That's a recipe for disaster. Something like that in your spirit, something like that in the spirit of the people. Again, this is another reason why I believe they're trying to eradicate different groups. Different groups of people have their own spirit. Groups of people are configured in a particular way. Their spirits are alike, their energy. And this is in these people's spirit to be resentful towards parenthood and children in general, and only have these emotions come up, and it makes a physical change in their body. Their brains start to release chemicals and all kind of stuff, only when they lay eyes on a dog. No, that's dangerous, and you're on a path to extinction. And we're documenting this genocide. We don't know how long this cyber era is going to last. It could last another 300 years. And then they're going to be listening to our videos, our recordings, talking about the exact thing that led to the extermination. Oh, listen, this was the XYZ people. Oh, listen to them talking. Listen to what they're saying. Yeah, they had this discussion. All right, class, we're going to listen to a 300-year-old video of the XYZ people who've gone extinct. And we're going to listen to them talking about how they're going extinct. Right? And how they love dogs more than children. You're on a path to extinction like that. I think that's irrefutable.
It's not a whataboutism, because I'm not trying to change the subject from these experiments. What I'm trying to do is talk about priorities. And the fact that we, and I speak in general terms when I say we, value the lives of dogs over the lives of our fellow human beings. We practice the weirdest form of pagan animal worship in this country that the world has ever seen. It's not based in mythology like other cultures, unless we count all the anthropomorphizing Disney movies that we grew up watching. And I do think actually that has something to do with it. And there are no standard religious practices surrounding it.
You know, now this guy, he is dead on his talking points right now. Fully agree with what he's saying. And it's a shame, because if I'm not mistaken, this is one of these guys who talk about racism as if it's a figment of people's imagination. And that's when I think people go overboard. Yeah, there's a bunch of cases of, people calling stuff racism that's not really racism. Of course, happens all the time. But don't go to the extreme and start talking like, oh, racism doesn't exist. Do you see any signs, any racist signs? Stop. So I don't know. I think that hurts his credibility, and maybe I don't fully understand his take on that. Correct me on that if I'm wrong. But this is dead on what he's saying here. The value for dogs over people, you don't want that type of energy in your spirit. You don't even entertain that type of discussion. Like, you check people who even make the slightest joke about something like that, just on a moral issue, moral grounds. That's too disrespectful. It's too disrespectful. You don't talk about no human group like any human demographic. You know, you don't sit up there and talk about the elderly like that. You don't talk about the young, no class of people. It's just inhumane. It's an inhumane, savage thing to do. And these nutters are knee deep. No, what am I talking about? They're fully submerged in this idea that, oh, dogs are so much better. I want to be a dog parent. And it's real common or popular for them to develop this disdain for children. And of course, once they get to that point, they'll never be a parent. That's a dangerous thing to have in your spirit.
And there are no standard religious practices surrounding it. We've come to our animal worship not from a position of religious fervor necessarily, but more from a place of despair and indifference. We don't recognize the inherent worth and dignity in human beings anymore. So we've elevated dogs to take that place instead. Is it?
And how did that happen? How'd that even happen? Why do you value friendship with something that you can't even have a conversation with? How have your standards sunken so low? You can't even have a simple conversation. Can't share a joke. You can't ask them about nothing. You can't tease them. It's just a dumb creature that's always hungry and looking for food, and you're just interpreting this thing begging for food as affection. You think it's just interested in you. That's exactly what happens. A dog comes, starts licking them in the face. They call it a kiss. Interpret these things, natural instinct. This is instinctive behavior. To lick on your face as a way of asking for food. It's not just the puppies. Dogs in dog packs will lick the face of the alpha, begging for food. It's just what dogs do when they want food forwarded from a organism to it. But because these people some of them may be aware that that's what, but they don't care. They want to interpret it as affection. They're that desperate to be loved. This country breeds straight up narcissists. I mean, beyond belief. Now, some people think that I'm a narcissist, that I'm an egomaniac. But that's something that people will always label you when you speak about something. Like if you research anything and you speak about it, you keep up with it. If it's something that you keep up with and you speak about that's in the news, there's constantly, people are going to say that because they're not the type of people to speak on things at length like that. Right? So it doesn't bother me. And somebody has to point out the narcissism in this country, because I believe they use dogs to reinforce their narcissism. It's a real bad, it's a problem, people. The narcissism in this country is a big, big problem. As we all know, many of these people just want attention. That's a big part of why they are dog lovers. The attention that it gets them. You know, if you got a loner type of person who doesn't know, has no personality, can't spark up a conversation, can't look at something and, you know, start a little quick discussion with someone. They don't know how to, they don't have an avenue, an outlet, something that would, link them or develop a bond between themselves and others. And that's where the dog comes in. Oh, just go rub on the mutt. Well, now somebody else rubbing on it too. Now you can have a little dog conversation. So the dog's present becomes nothing more than just a way for you to talk. You're just looking for a reason to talk. A lot of these people, I'm telling you, they just babble just to be babbling. I deal with people like this all the time. They talk, they talk just to be talking. And that gets on my nerves sometimes. Because at a certain point, it's like, look, man, be quiet. Leave me alone. You're babbling just to be babbling. It's okay to be quiet. Yeah? You have your little conversation, then you go to work and you be quiet. You ain't got to talk every time you see somebody. Some people just don't have no balance in composure or whatever. You see, and that's what we need to talk about. These types, because these people, they're using dogs as like a crutch. I've heard people say this before. It's like a personality crutch. And they view it as a way for them to develop a personality. Oh, I can be that dog guy or that dog girl, that dog mom. Y'all remember the lady whose dog attacked someone's child? She said she didn't want to get rid of the dog because it would change the way people view her on social media. Everybody want to feel special. Now, I think there's nothing wrong with that, wanting to feel special. I suspect that's sort of an instinct for us. It starts when you're young, when you're a kid. And I would suspect, I'm not a psychologist, that it has something to do with you not being treated like you were special when you were a child. You were not treated like you were special. Why not? I bet the dog was. I bet the dog was treated like it was special.
This is something so pervasive that you hear it even from conservatives. This, unfortunately, I wish I could say this is a left versus right. This is another left versus right paradigm here, but it's not. I hear from self-professed conservatives all the time saying, in fact, proudly saying, openly saying, yeah, I value dogs more than people. I care about my dog more than I care about most people. This is, and you're a conservative.
This is very dangerous. This is very dangerous. Because you know, you're in a tight spot when people will view your discovery of a genocidal philosophy permeating through your population. They will interpret that discovery as racism, as you being some type of white supremacist. No, this is a genuine concern, a genuine problem and would be for any group. And let's be clear, dogs are a problem for all races of people. It don't matter that our population is still growing. It could probably have grown a whole lot more without dogs, and there would have been a whole lot of elderly people, young people, and kids and black babies who wouldn't have been mutilated. Dogs are worth getting rid of from all groups. And I'm not going to have nobody trying to tell me that I'm some type of extremist because I'm pointing out people's sickness. That's a sickness. You're speaking against the existence of yourself. Like, what are you doing? You don't say stuff like that. Dogs more. You don't compare children with nothing. It's like, what is going on in your mind? This is a real problem. Now, Reddit is like, you can find anything on Reddit. And of course, they have this group, Child Free. Now, the funny thing about this group, this subreddit, whatever it's called, it's got 1.5 million members. And it's just called Child Free. But why did it have to have a dog right here? Why do dogs have to be in the discussion at all? Why is it an anti-child thing? I'm child free. Me, I don't have kids. But that don't mean I need to be out here speaking against the existence. What type of person is a child hater? But if you go through this subreddit, you find that that's what this group is all about. These people despise kids. It's like a child hate zone. It's shocking. It's like, what? Some people come here, some people are like me. Like, hey, I get to have a discussion with other people who don't have kids. The only difference is we live a different life. We don't have all the responsibilities, and we don't have a lot of good things that people with kids have. That's a big stage in life to become a parent. That's like a magical moment. Incredible moment. Doesn't have to be an anti-child space. That's exactly what this is. You cannot have this type of energy permeating through your demographic. You can't, because this might be around 300 years from now. And people gonna pull it up and say, look at how much the XYZ people who are now extinct, look at how much they used to hate kids. No wonder they're not here right now. You gotta get this type of, what is this? Ideology? You can't even, there's no proper word to use to describe this madness. This is sickness right here. Now look at this. Okay, you might not be convinced yet. I just want you to understand where I'm coming from. Look at this. What's with some child-free people becoming pet parents? Now, this is a person who questioned the vibe of the group. Like, what's up with this? Everybody is a dog nutter. I come to a child-free space or forum, believing I'm going to talk to people about how they live life being child free. And I run into dog nutters who hate kids. Being child free, you could be looking forward to being a parent someday. And you want to talk with other people who are child free, looking forward to be a parent. No, you come here and it's a hate child, love dog group. Said it's odd. Seems like the main point of becoming child free is to avoid the obligations, stress, and expense of parenthood. But then child free people go out and buy a golden retriever and make it their baby. Man, went for the jugular. And then somebody said this. Look at this. Humans do not trigger maternal emotions for me. Animals do. Why does it matter to you? It's not affecting you. And it costs you absolutely nothing to mind your own business. Stop with the BS gatekeeping. This person sounded genuinely offended. Humans do not trigger maternal emotions for me. You know where that comes from? All your little catchphrases. Dogs are better than kids, and that type of sickness. Who came up with that anyway? Man, in my circles, nothing like that would have ever taken off. It wouldn't, not even close. Somebody would have slapped you. You just can't say stuff like that. And definitely, that's not going to go well with a bunch of adults who might be parents themselves. Right? This has to go. It has to go. That's irrefutable. And people, there are a lot of articles that have been written where people deal with this subject of why they prefer dogs over children, their own children, becoming a parent. So this is a lot of documentation. A lot of documentation. And I think this is bad for people, bad for society in so many ways. Not just to aid depopulation, but they're making us sick far more than we know. They're making us very sick, which also contributes to our depopulation. Do you know how many people die per year from the flipping flu? Annual deaths, flu in the U.S. Of course, now they give it a different name, right? talking some 52,000 people between 2017 and 2018. Hey, that's 52,000 people that could have lived, if they weren't getting sick. Maybe their immune system would have been a little healthier and could have fought it off if these filthy mutts wasn't in our society the way that they are. This is a dangerous game that we're playing. And we can't call it no game. But it's a violation of the law. Y'all remember when this happened? Shortly after the death of I think she was a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, a 5-month-old, 5-month-old and a 2-year-old. The pit bull lovers started to were criticized for victim blaming family who lost 2 children in dog attack. Slammed dog advocates for victim blaming a family that recently fell victim to a brutal attack from their pit bulls. She argues that now is not the time to be sharing images of your friendly pit bulls cuddling with your children, and is encouraging people to have compassion in the wake of this tragedy. Not even after a child, 2 kids, were slaughtered brutally by pit bulls. Not even that put chill on their nuttery. They proceeded to visit the Facebooks and different social media spots that were discussing this, the media outlet comment section, posting images of their pit bull cuddled up with a child, as if to say, "How look, our pit bull hasn't killed our child yet." That's all they're saying. Now, in those homes of those people, they're posting photos of, a pit bull with a baby, pit bull with a child inside of those homes. Inside of those homes, these owners of pit bulls, is there or is there not a prioritizing of the pit bulls? You heard Matt Walsh touch on prioritizing. You must, this is a mandatory, it's required. You have to prioritize the dog's existence over your child's to be an owner of a dog, especially with bully breeds. They just produced alarming statistics for any large, vicious dog. You have to prioritize. You're not prioritizing the child over the dog. Nothing's going to happen to the dog. Nothing can happen to the dog. It's not even possible. It's only possible for your child to get mutilated. So bringing the dog into the house, it's all about increasing the chances of your child getting attacked and you. So you've placed more value on the dog than you've placed on your child. And this is the scary part. I'm discouraged from this talking point because this is just trying to attack someone on a moral level. Me saying, hey, your behavior indicates that you value the dog more than your child. Listen, people, that don't work. That don't work on these people. It's not like they're going to hear me say that and be like, oh, well, you're right. And that's not right. I shouldn't do that. Let me get rid of this dog. They're not going to do that. No. So I've just dropped it and focused on the violation of the law, because that right now holds more weight than the likelihood that they'll snap out of it. These people not going to snap out of their nuttery. That's highly unlikely. I think it's more likely that people snap out of the fact that they're violating the law. It's more likely that, people in powerful positions will be like, look, we are violating our laws. We need to make some real serious changes here. And because we can't change the endangerment laws, what are we going to change them to? What are we going to do? You can't just eliminate child endangerment laws. Yeah, a lot of these people, like those people who's posting those photos of their kids with their pit bulls, they flaunt the fact that they value the dog more. They flaunt it. Yeah, it's like they basically brag about it. They don't care. It's a problem. Now, what in the world? Oh, this is some random article, or is it actually a blog that I ran across? Just pulled up one to take a look at. Say studies show that the majority of fatal dog attacks involve pit bulls. It don't take much study. Don't take no deep research. Yeah. The stories are available. And there are a lot of people out there who compile the stories and share them. Don't take no, deep examination of the data and all that nonsense. We've looked at it several times. Hell, Wikipedia is reliable when you're talking about fatalities. Okay, they're talking about fatal dog attacks. Don't require no deep research. And I say Wikipedia is reliable because you can simply go to the source. They list the source, where they getting this from. And it's reliable sources. It's just actual attacks. So yeah, come on, man. And this is what, 6% of the dog population? We don't at least ban bully breeds? Really? That can't be good. Can't be good. There's another story. I saved a few crazy stories. I can't remember why. Hazel Park family had pit bull less than a day before deadly attack on boy. 4-year-old Benjamin was fatally mauled by a pit bull in 2019. So fatality. The mom turned her back on her sweet 4-year-old boy for just a moment. And that, police said, is when the mutt pounced. It violently and viciously mauled Benjamin Cobb to death, as his 38-year-old Hazel Park mother, Brandy, tried to fight the 60-pound creature off, stabbing it, first with a nearby scissors, then with a steak knife. She ran in the kitchen to get. Boy, boy, boy. You see what they say down here? They say, it appears as if this was just a sudden attack. We don't know what may have sparked it. Really? They defend pit bulls in the articles where they're reporting about the attack. If they're bold enough to do that, they're not going to ever give up dogs. You can't send them on, make them feel guilty, give them a moral lecture, and have them drop. I mean, some of them, I'm not going to say it can't happen, but it's just, too far in between. I'd rather deal with this from a legal standpoint. And this happens in almost every article. they formulated in a way to defend dogs. So what they're doing right here is projecting this dog as extremely abnormal. Oh, what a rare occurrence. Oh, this is so rare. Doesn't happen. No, this happens often. Very often. I've created a channel where I focus on these stories. How do you think that's even possible? If this was so rare, how in the world, where do I get content from? Most of my content is dealing with actual cases. There's nothing else that needs to be proved. Right now, at this time, we need to just start making the bands, getting in contact with people with bully breeds, tell them they got such and such time to turn it over. Right? Just do just like China. You don't turn it over, we're going to come get it. We're going to come get it. We're going to humanely euthanize it right there on your front door. It'll be humanely. Calm down. But we gave you a chance. I mean, this whole culture is falling apart. Y'all remember I shared this. When you have Newsweek and other media outlets putting out desperate articles like this, you know it's the end of their days. Their days are severely numbered. How many of y'all remember this? 25 myths about pit bulls you should stop believing. I've tried to contact this writer of this article so many times, and yeah, she ignores me. These are supposedly myths. It's a myth that they have a bad temperament, that they're inherently vicious, not affectionate. That ain't no myth. That ain't no myth. You see, this is just another article. People who are against pit bulls, they don't be saying stuff like this. That they not affectionate. What are you talking about? This is just a nutter who making up her own rebuttals and replying to them. Pit bulls are one breed. People don't be saying stuff like that. Anti-pit bull people don't say stuff like that. What are you talking about? This is desperation. Are more dangerous than other dogs. Now, we all know that they are. They're the only ones that were specifically bred for fighting. So much so that their physical body, their muscle makeup has developed itself for fighting. What are you talking about? You can see there what they were bred for on their body. Most dog-related incidents so this is just a ignorant lying journalist. Because this is true when you're talking about mutilations and fatalities. And probably dog bites in general. I've heard people say that. And if not, where are you getting it from? Oh boy. She quotes pitbullinfo.org, another website that just lies. Pit bulls are only bred for fighting. Listen to this. This is crazy. Yeah, that's what they were bred for. It's like, what are you talking about? She said they were bred for work and companionship. No, they were not. No, they were bred for fighting. Just because you keep one in the house and talk to it, don't mean it's now bred for companionship. You just talking to a mutt that was bred for fighting. See, that's why I'm not going to waste time with debates with people like this. This would just make me look bad to go back and forth with these bad faith arguments. These people, I'm not going to do that. The only people I debate, you're going to have a lot of respect and some credentials. Because this is just nonsense. I'm not going to waste my time some nutter talking like this. All pit bulls were once fighting dogs. That ain't no myth. Where are you getting this myth from? You ain't heard no myth like that nowhere. She just making stuff up. Just being a typical pathological narcissist liar. Have y'all heard these myths? I haven't heard any of these. Pit bulls, never bred for fighting, are always safe. What in the world? So this is major babbling. I mean, this is worse than me. Pit bulls' brains are wired to go crazy. And that's true. What is she saying? But the concept of a pit bull's brain swelling somehow, causing it to go crazy, is not basic. What is she talking about? Nobody say a pit bull's brain swells. What is she talking about? No, they just spaz out. You can see them doing it. It's on film. Like, what are you talking about? There's several videos available right now. I've shown them. Pit bull start attacking. Somebody will pull it away, and it's just spazzing out. Trying to get back. You can't stop them. They don't stop. What is she? What? See, this is what I'm talking. This is desperation right here. Because they are in their last days. The clock is ticking. The American Pit Bull Terriers have greatest jaw pressures. She's saying that that's a myth that people believe. Anti-Pit Bull people don't refer to pit bulls as American Pit Bull Terriers. Only nutters do that. Anti-Pit Bull people just call them pit bulls. So I know this ain't no myth. This ain't no real myth. This is nutter language. Do y'all see how prevalent lying is? How popular it is? I'm telling you, there are people in this world, always have been, who specialize in lying. Lying makes up the majority of their dialogue, of their speech. I mean, in this incessant lying, like lie after lie. Now, many people have said this, but that is true. Like I said about the lockjaw, dog bite incidents are mostly pit bull related. Nonsense. This is a dying group of people right here. That's why it sounds so pathetic. That's why this article is so pathetic. It's because it's coming from a dying breed. It is a wrap. It is 100% a wrap for you nutters. Your best option, in my opinion, is to take your mutt to a shelter and leave it there. And do not acquire another dog for the rest of your life. Figure out how to exist on this earth without a dog. Okay? Don't find yourself having to defend the existence of these things and see yourself getting embarrassed. Break away from this lunacy. Okay? The future is not looking bright for dog lovers and especially pit bull owners. Listen, I'm being sincere. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I'm telling you, I know for a fact it's going to just get worse and worse for you. There are going to be a whole lot of people just like us popping up all over the place. This is just the beginning. And many of those people are going to develop a much larger platform than me. Some of them might have real influence and sway in the world, money. Okay, get out of this lifestyle now while we're just starting. Okay, don't find yourself trapped in a tornado. Shout out to everybody able to join me for this live stream. And I hope to see you all back on the next as we continue with this crusade.